haven't played around with this for a while. I've been working on a non-blacksmith project that's been taking up a lot of my time lately. And today, I'm waiting on some paint to dry. Yeah, just as exciting as it sounds. One of the things that me and my wife like to do is a thing we do together is we like to go mining for Herkimer diamonds, and they're doubly terminated quartz crystals. They're not real diamonds, but hang on, let me turn this down. All right, so they're doubly terminated quartz crystals, and they're in rock. A lot of times you got to break down and break open a pocket layer. And when you're doing that, you'll drive in chisels. Here's some chisels. And these chisels I made, out of coil springs. They're not particularly big ones. A lot of people make them out of leaf springs out of a car, and they just call them steels. And you can drive them in, and you get a crack started, and you just drive one in right next to another, next to the other, next to the other, and you just go ping, 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 and walk along them, and you can snap out a whole big chunk of rock. But here's some that I have. And these were made out of coil spring. But I don't have any coil spring that size. I got smaller, and I've got really big stuff. So I decided I had some sucker rod laying around. This is about 3/4 inch diameter. So I'm going to take the sucker rod and go ahead and taper them down. And it doesn't matter. I mean, I saw a video, a guy was using his, and he was using round ones like this that had been tapered down. So I was like, yeah, I could do that. So I'm just making a few more, throw in the bag. I should have dug out my gas torch for this, really should have, but it's actually up on top of a shelf back there. I haven't used it in so long. It's up on top of a shelf, kind of buried. I'll probably have to dig it out anyway so they can quench all these. I'll heat them up in a gas forge. It's easier, and quench them in some just vegetable oil. And these sucker rods are 4140 or 4340, whatever it is. Or at least that's what the people always say they are. I know I'm live. Can't tell if anybody's watching. Alright, so a lot of this is just going to be real easy. Go over and we're going to hammer it out. We're over on a power hammer. I've got a flatter tool for the power hammer that helps me get a nice smooth taper on them because I've got flat dies in it. You already saw me do one at the very beginning. Well, that was because it was already up to temp, and actually over temp by the time I got the video started, so I just went ahead and did it. Go ahead. Here's a rough chopping. That's about it. I mean, it's drawn out. Now I'll just straighten out the bulges on the sides. Although I probably don't have to. I mean, it would probably work just fine the way they are. But I straighten out the bulges, take any bend or curve out of them. I taper that end down pretty good, so it'll start in the rock. It looks pretty good. That's all there is to it. It ain't got to be pretty. You're just going to drive them into rocks. I'll throw it over here. That's the fourth one. I just cut this sucker out into a bunch of approximately 6-inch long pieces. There's no accuracy to this. Doesn't need to be. Since nobody's watching, I guess we're just going to go right ahead and just keep going. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8 more to go. We got about 4 done already. It's a really simple project. There's nothing to it. I've been busy on a non-blacksmithing project and haven't even been out here in a couple months. Probably since the last live I did. So, like I said, I'm waiting on paint to dry on that other project, and so I had the time, nothing else better to do, here I am. That was still a little thick. I'll go back and take another heat on it. But normally they're only a 1 heat project. you don't get them all in one heat. Looks like you gotta go back and do some touch up. Two watching. Says I got two watching. One of them's me right there, so I don't know who the other lurker is. Feel free to say hi. Alright, I'm not worried too much about the actual shape out here, because I'm going to go back and hit them on the grinder anyway. There's six down, 6 to go. Should have brought down some samples of the quartz crystals that we were mining up here in the Herkimer, Middleville, Fonda area in Herkimer County, New York. There, speed it up a little. And my shop, like I said, I haven't been down here other than I keep coming down here while I'm working on my other project to grind stuff and cut stuff. But I'm doing most of my other project up in the garage and not out here in the shop. So the shop is just, I keep coming down using it and walking away and leaving stuff laying out, and it's a pigsty right now. I mean, like I said, I'm just going to do one right after another, and when they're done, I'm done, I guess. Flatter tool just helps me, keeps me from getting notches in it, makes it smooth so that it'll, when you're driving it into the rock, you're not catching on a bunch of little lips. That's all there is. And I put one on top of my fire, right up on the very top, and let that preheat while I'm working the one that I'm currently working. a little aggressive on that one. I don't know if you can see it, but up in here it's got a pretty good notch. Yeah, it's hard to see on that. There it is. So, another way to take that out is to thin it down and keep thinning down the whole thing, but I'm going to hope that I don't actually ever have to drive it in that far. And if I do, it's not uncommon to stack the steels. But I'm not getting any younger, and I don't see myself swinging sledgehammers too much more. You know, combining little crystals out of the rocks, but maybe a couple more years. Four more. Eyeballing it, making sure it's straight in line. And onto the pile. A lot of times in blacksmithing, you know, when you're doing them really elaborate projects and everybody's looking at it going, ooh, ah. And they don't realize that a lot of it is just just this, what I'm doing right now. Just doing one thing over and over and over and over for hours and hours. And then in the end, you just assemble all the pieces. Bill says I got 2 watching. One up on the fire to warm up. Preheat. Dragonstone, that's Daniel, no, damn, not Daniel Baca, help me out here. Daniel Crawford. What I'm doing is me and my wife can do mining for Herkimer diamonds. And when we mine for Herkimer diamonds, you have wedges that you drive into the rocks to break the rocks apart and expose the little bugs and cavities that have crystals in them. And these are some wedges that I had made in the past out of springs. These were made out of a coil spring, but I didn't have another coil spring the same size. A lot of guys use leaf springs. You can see there's a whole stack of them. They're called steels. And you drive them into the rock, and then as it opens up the crack, you just keep driving them in, one right after another. And then you just keep walking down through the row and tap, 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 tap with your hammer, and you can split off a big 2, 3 foot, 4 foot, 6 foot, depends on how many steels you want to drive in. Big chunk of rock, and then it'll be full of pockets and stuff, and it'll have these Herkimer diamonds in them. So I seen somebody using round ones, so I took a piece of sucker rod, because that's like 4340 or 4140 or whatever it is. And I'm just making some more. That was so smooth, I don't even have any notches in it to go back and knead the fuller on it. Wish they all went like that. To tell you the truth, the last one I went in and I took that fuller out of like a diagonal, and it left more marks than it took out. I'm just making sure they're straight. And like I said, I saw a guy doing them, and most of the guys use just leaf springs. But when I saw a guy was using some that were round on the end, I think he was just using regular store-bought chisels. So I was like, I got some sucker rod I can play around with. So that's the 11th one. We got one more, and that'll be it. And I'll have them all pushed down, and I'll decide whether I want to try to heat treat them, you know, because I'm just going to take them up till they lose their magnetism and quench them in just some vegetable oil I got over here. Might even be peanut oil. I don't know if I'm going to do that with a coal board, or if I'm going to actually dig my my gas board is up on a shelf. I haven't used it in so long. I put it up on a shelf, and it's got some stuff in front of it. Used to sit over here where the computer is, but S7, huh? I don't know. I mean, I know S7's a tool steel, shock-resistant tool steel. But I actually have some S7 here. But every reference I've ever seen says that it's 4140 or 4340, something like that. Got some industrial jackhammer bits. That they were advertised in the sales brochures and literature and stuff. Said that they were S7, and seems to me like that works a lot harder than this does. it just gives me more wedges to put in my bag. To be honest with you, I don't even know if you really need to heat treat it. Because if you make it too hard, then it's going to get brittle, and I've seen a lot of them snap in rocks. And you're putting them right to the test, not like using them for, you know, hot chiseling and steel when you're blacksmithing or something like that. But you can see, and that's the last one. Yeah, that's hot. Got a little metal plate over there. I've been setting them on, letting them cool down. If only I had a pair of gloves. I think I got about 50 million pairs up in the shop, up in the garage, but not out here. But you can see there's a whole pile of them that I just did. They're not perfect. They don't have to match identically. Because you're just going to drive them into rocks. Have you ever seen Herkimer diamonds, Daniel? Should have brought some down. As a matter of fact, I can run up real quick and grab a couple to show everybody. Well, right now just you, but whoever watches this later. Well, actually, I got 3 now. But whoever watches this later can see what the diamonds, the crystals that we're getting are supposed to look like. So I'll be back in about 3 minutes. Yeah. Alright, so these are Herkimer diamonds. This one here has a little diamond on top of it. You know, and ideally, you know, they'll be double terminated and have points on both ends. And the clearer they are when you look through them, the more they're worth. Sometimes they'll actually grow like this. There's a cluster, there's 3 of them right there, growing right together. Here's one of our bigger ones, but once they start getting big, they start getting full of fractures, and they're not clear. You can't see through them anymore. If this was this size and it was clear, it'd be probably, I don't know, $50,000 stone. I think this is the biggest one I have that's what they call water clear, and it's got a couple marks in it, and it's got some anthraxolite stuck in it. But this one was about, it appraised at $900. Whereas this one, even though it's much bigger, was probably only like a $200 stone. But like I said, you know, you gotta break apart rock, and this one here, the mine I got these from was the mine we went last year, and it's costs a lot more to go and mine there, but you're digging them right out of the dirt. You don't have to break rock or anything. They're sitting right on in the dirt. But you won't find any water clears at that mine. And the water clears are the ones that are worth more money. But that's probably an A grade. If that was a double A or a triple A, it'd be worth a lot more. Just because it's rare to see them still clear above 1 inch. And that one's about 2 inches long. Alright, let me set them somewhere safe. Put it back here just in case. Alright, so what's everybody else working on these days? These are still pretty warm. When I heat treat them, I'm just going to take them up till the magnet doesn't stick anymore on the tip end, and just quench them in some oil, which I think is peanut oil. I just saved it when we deep fried the turkey for a couple Thanksgivings in a row. And I used to quench and use motor oil, and you know how everybody yeah about it. Alright, well, I think I'm going to call it. I got a dozen of them beat out. I mean, if I quench them, I'm probably going to end up digging down the gas forge, That's gonna take a few minutes. I got a bunch of stuff in front of it, so I'm not gonna stay online and make everybody wait and watch while I dig it down. But, alright guys, whoever the other person is, because it says I got 3 watching and it's probably counting me on my phone as 1. Going on extra. These trailer. Still warm. So, alright guys, I'm out. I just wanted to pop on today. I figured I was going to be doing something and I'd pop on and say hi. I haven't even been out in the shop for probably 2 months. So I figured while I was out here doing this, I'm waiting on the paint to dry on my other project, I would hop on.